There's only one way to start.
The defenders that have performed at VVD's level is Rio, John Terry, and Vidic. I mean, how long are we going to act like this guy's a top striker, man? Champions League final.
We got to the Champions League final and lost to Liverpool. I'm cool. I've accepted that. I moved on.
Worst week ever as a Spurs fan. I
think the most pertinent issue that we can discuss, and I've said that I'm not.
Guy loves a big word.
That's the dumbest thing you've said on this podcast. You just said
Spurs
are in turmoil. You know you want to say it. Don't let him press you.
Yo, listen, welcome back to another episode of Stoppage Time TV. We're live in the flesh, live and direct in effect. You already know what time it is. To start today's proceedings, I would like to say, public announcement, make sure you're following all of the socials, make sure your notifications are switched on so you can get this prime content direct to you. Make sure you like as well. If you want to support us around the Christmas period, share to 5 friends, let's get this big, because we've done some I feel like we've given you some really good talent this year. Some really, really good moments. A lot of you used the memes, so I need you to support. Without further ado, I would like to say, across the world, worldwide, from London to Lagos, from Perth to Peckham, hold tight the 3-point collectors. This guy's clapping. I would also like to say, hold tight the participants.
We gotta stop clapping the participants.
No, you have to, because they tried. Without the participants, there's no game. Hold tight the qualifiers.
Is this what we're doing now?
Hold tight the qualifiers.
Oh,
what about the losers?
And hold tight the losers.
No, but he qualified for Europa.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Hold tight. Losers are participants.
Well, point collectors. You didn't get to collect any point this week, so
participant. But I wasn't even going on you. And the last one is
too much.
What's the last one? Last one is hold tight the man them that are losing 6-pointers.
Hey.
No, hold tight the teams that are winning the 6-pointers, because that's a difficult game for Burnley. I mean, tier 3, you don't have any fans, you're not allowed any fans. You come to London, it's a very difficult game, and you persevered. So
they spent nothing this year as well, man. Credit to them.
Yeah, real talk. So where do we want to start? Because I had a plan of where we were supposed to start, but this incoming news that we've just watched has just flipped everything on its head. Listen, let's spend 5 minutes here. I don't want to spend too long, because I already made my stance clear that we shouldn't be talking about. If we're going to spend energy on Arsenal, then we have to discuss teams like
Brighton.
No, like Blackburn and Middlesbrough. This
oh, wow.
Like
okay.
Yeah. But Heritage Club. There we go, Heritage Clubs. But
Heritage FC.
Where to start? 1 point from the last 5 Prem games. That was the draw to Leeds. Aubameyang scores, but not in his net. Xhaka red card. Crosses again. I think it's like 145% of that crosses in the last 3 games. It's coming to the point now with their games coming up. Yeah. We say it as a joke here, but Fulham have a game in hand in them. Like Roy Keane said, they're lucky that there's 3 teams worse than them, but this is not, it's not a joke anymore. Before it was funny. Now we're actually realizing that this is something quite serious.
Bro, it is that type of season though for me where I don't know what's going on with the Premier League, but you don't know what kind of results you're going to get. I feel like Arsenal right now, you're saying relegation is kind of like a serious thing that maybe they should think about, but I don't know.
I'm not saying relegation is something to think about, but I'm saying this moment that we're in now, before it was like play. Yeah. It's actually serious now. When I said the whole Newcastle thing before about how Newcastle are playing rubbish football and still getting points, Newcastle are still putting points on the board. Like no matter what you say about them and whatnot, like they're getting it done. Newcastle, Steve Bruce, the fans are still screaming Mike Ash and all of this. They're moving along. They've got bad board management. They've had bad windows. They've got disjointed players and everything. They're still getting points.
Some way, somehow.
They're doing something. This Arsenal situation is dire, and it's so crazy because when you look at the teams at that part of the table, what people always say is it's very easy to get drawn into a relegation scrap. When you hear that sort of phrase, you're thinking, oh, these men are chatting rubbish. It is actually very easy because, as we've seen, if you only get 1 point in your last 5 games, you can very easily get into this section.
That's relegation form, literally, yeah.
Bruh.
And
then, but you look at Arteta in this situation, yeah. How long does he last now? Because if Arsenal now, let's say over the Christmas period, January comes and goes, they're still in this bottom half. Do they stick with him? Do because for me, I don't know at what point do you snap out of it and say, this is the reality of Arsenal, we're going to stick with our guy and we're going to roll with the punches, it is what it is? Or do you say, we are Arsenal, that's our history, this ain't the standard, we get rid of him, type of thing? Because when I'm seeing Lacazette in the in the number 10 role, that's coming from the manager. I'm like, brother,
what production's moving mad,
bro. But what are we doing?
Do you know? My honest opinion
when that is your creative outlet, and that's the guy who you're expecting to create chance for you. Aubameyang now, it's like he's not interested anymore. He's had enough. He secured the bag. He said, "I'm good." Let me.
Man, them are calling him Igalo, you know.
Boy, Igalo's not scoring on goals.
Looking like David Ngog, bruv. I don't know.
Rotted.
Boy,
The mad thing about all of it is, you know, I know it's a random tangent, but you know when Huddersfield had I've forgotten how to pronounce his name, Klopp's boy.
Wagner.
When they had Wagner and they were trying to play this football and everything, and after a while it was like, we don't need this right now. They got rid of him. They got the bread and butter guy. The reason why they can do that is because the type of club they are, it's do or die. Same thing with what Watford did when they got Nigel Pearson in. Do or die. The reason why I think that's difficult for Arsenal is because you give this sort of guy a contract, and then do you stick with that person going long term? So for like you said, because you were one of the first people, I like to credit people, you were one of the first people that said this whole Sam Allardyce thing, and whether it was banter or not, bro, you put the energy out there. But, and I'm not even saying this. I'm not even saying this to take the piss. But let's just say in the world that we're in now, that Arsenal think, you know what, this Arteta, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Short-term fix.
Bro, till the end of the season.
Sam Allardyce will happily take a 6-month contract.
And the thing is, the style of football don't change too much.
Nope.
Except the only thing that changes results.
I'm trying to not like play jokes here. I'm actually being serious because you have to assess the situation. Do you keep going with Arteta and it keeps getting worse and players don't want to play for him? Because speaking to Arsenal fans, there's 5 players that they can identify that he has essentially cocked up. There's 5 players. They will say Guendouzi, Saliba. They will say Ozil. They will say a few or 2 more from the top of my head. I can't remember. But I say that
signing of Willian
in terms of the camp that can affect the camp.
Holding,
so if they don't want to play for
week
him,
in, week out.
yeah, what happens there? Cool. You then want to bring a manager in. You're not going to get a Poch. You're not going to get like a I don't think a top tier guy comes into this and thinks I can solve this, especially if the board are not going to back you.
That's not an attractive job.
So the Sam Allardyce thing, as much as it may sound like a joke, I'm not even trying to take the piss. That is one avenue, but how realistic is it that Arsenal would pursue that is another thing. I honestly don't know where they go from it.
Eddie Howe?
The thing is,
that was another one you mentioned as well.
Hey, Eddie Howe,
like, if they want to go back,
ago, boy.
If they want to go back to the style of play and maybe want to bring back something, Eddie Howe, listen, he did a couple years at Bournemouth, decent job.
Listen, he's a better manager than Arteta. I swear to you, one thing. No matter what people say about me or whatever, one thing I'm always right about is Arsenal Football Club. I'm always right about Arsenal. I don't care. No, anything I say about Arsenal, please listen. I'm telling you, I'm always right about Arsenal. I'm always like it's been a thing all my life. I'm always right about Arsenal.
Yeah.
But listen, we're getting too obsessed in this era, yeah, or in this generation, with trusting processes and process this and process that and give man time. You are failing all your objectives. There's sometimes, okay, let's see progress. Yes, the example, as I always say, everyone always gives the example of Klopp. Oh, yeah, he gave him time. No, but they were doing something. They were looking progressive. They were getting somewhere.
League Cup finals, yeah.
This whole process. So what? You have to get into the relegation zone before the process is over. There's no process with Arteta. The job's he's over. He's not good enough. It's as simple as that. Like,
to play devil's advocate for the sake of it, and it's probably a good conversation to get into. Where is the balance with that though? Because I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. If you're in relegation, and I can see a period of how many games are we in now? Like a third of the season essentially, right? Where it's going wrong. Yeah. Is that soon enough to say, okay, you know what? It's not working. Sack him off.
Of course.
What is your grace period of then trying to make things right? And the reason I'll throw that up again is because what Arsenal fans were very big on was, but he came in, he steadied the ship, he won us an FA Cup. So he's not just in his situation, but
Emery was doing a bad job. But we're acting like Emery was a relegation candidate. Emery wasn't a relegation candidate. He was doing a bad job, okay, but it wasn't a relegation candidate.
You
know what I mean? Arsenal. Yeah, we're taking it too far with this process stuff. He's doing simply doing a poor job. He's on relegation form. The morale looks horrible. The discipline is going. Guys, that's the 3rd red card that Arsenal have since he's been there, that's been from violent conduct.
Yeah.
The discipline is gone. He got rid of Gondozi. Yeah. He publicly slammed Pepe for his one. I want to see if he keeps the same energy for Xhaka, because he did it to Gondozi and Pepe.
Yeah.
He got rid of Gondozi. You got Dortmund just fired Favre, right? Favre. I thought because he's French, you have to give it some. If I said Favre, it would have sounded too English. You know what I mean?
I tried to give some Favre room.
Yeah, but okay, they sacked Favre. Yeah, Favre flipping was 5th with Dortmund.
Yeah,
5th with Dortmund, won the Super Cup. No, and they're getting rid of him. What's that brother's name that was at Real Madrid? That's now at Sevilla.
Lopetegui.
Got rid of him.
I didn't pronounce. I butchered that, but still.
No,
yeah,
you said it right.
Yeah,
you said it
they
right.
got rid of him as well. Like, listen, the thing is, yeah, it doesn't matter. Once the process looks like it's going too far left, right, you got to get rid of these people. You got to live and do or die by your decisions.
100%.
Arteta came in, did a good job. We're getting excited because Arteta come and won a cup. Di Matteo won a cup. Roberto Martinez won a cup. Michael Laudrup won a cup. I can tell you bang average managers that have won cups. What are we going to get excited about? He's doing a horrible job in the league. Get rid of him. Arsenal fans, I don't even think, to be honest, to be fair with Arsenal fans, I think they're all on board as well. Get rid of Arteta. I'm sorry. The club is, at the moment, the infrastructure of the club is awful. The ownership is awful. But there's no excuse for Arsenal to be battling 16th place.
Yeah. I hear that. And there's no kind of divine right for them to get Arteta to fix it. And I said, I don't know why they had this underlying confidence for weeks and months that Arteta's just going to magically get his things in place and we're going to start playing attacking football. It ain't going to work like that. But what you said there is kind of how long is the grace period? For me, because he won that FA Cup, I feel like, and because he steadied the ship, they have to give him January and they have to back him in January.
But what is Arsenal's standards? But the thing is, what is their standards?
No. But here's the thing. In the summer, they were meant to kind of go after Partey and Aouar, and that was going to kind of give them a base to build around. And I felt like they wasted it by trying to haggle for Partey, ended up paying the fee last minute, and then ended up losing out on Aouar. And it's like now the team is so kind of mishmash in that midfield as well. I feel like they have to give him more pieces to load up before you can say it's kind of all Arteta's thing. Because for me, I still think there's a lot to blame.
What you're saying is right.
I just think from a grace period perspective.
What you're saying is completely right. But again, this is where probably both the points come in. And I think the issue that Arsenal probably have here is you have this sort of manager who's new in his managerial career, etc., etc. You have these players. You have the idea that you want to back him. However, the style of football he's playing, like, I saw a tweet, I can't remember who tweeted it, so sorry for not showing you up, but it was kind of like they've seen bad moments at Arsenal before. They've never seen anything like this. Yeah. And that's through the standard of football that's actually being played. So even if I give you tools, but you're incapable of kind of doing stuff with it, then am I not setting myself a failure up in the future? Not even to try and compare it to Ole, but like we've seen with Ole, like you've already said that he's not the best coach. He has some decent tools and it's somewhat working, but surely...
But that's exactly the same example I would use though, because he's been given like Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bruno, a few decent signings who've improved the team, regardless of what shape or system.
But how much can he do though? And how much can he do?
What you look at Ole, you would say how much can he do, but he's at least done something with it. I feel like Arteta has barely been given anything. I feel like in January, they have to at least kind of back him and say, no, there's a reason why we kept you around after the FA Cup. And if they get rid of him, for me, where do Arsenal go from here? That's the thing.
To
you get rid of Arteta now, where'd you go?
Let's summarize it at this then, because I wouldn't spend too long on it. So you're saying give to January if he's do...
I'm Arteta in, baby.
What? Because of... Okay, cool. So you're saying give him to January and back him in the market. What are you saying? You're saying
I'll be getting rid of him.
And who are your... Give me two viable options.
Viable options. Right now, there's Eddie Howe's available, which I said from a long time ago. And I'll take Big Sam too. I'll take Big Sam. No, but
why would Rodgers leave?
That's a bad move.
Why would Rodgers leave?
He gets probably more financial backing at Leicester, and they're a better team, and they got better talent.
Even if you look at the way that Leicester recruit, you can see something like get rid of Maguire, start getting people like
Fofana.
It's smart.
He's a good manager himself. I know he just got sacked at Dortmund, but he's a good manager. He's a good manager.
I feel like he's
a decent manager.
No, but I feel like he'll go Black and
bro. What you think, man? Like there's guys like Ten Hag at Ajax.
Is Rafa in the job?
Who
is Rafa Benitez in the job?
That's probably China or something. Yeah, bro, there's managers out there that I'm telling you now, yeah. I'm not going to sit here and give like bare names, but there's managers out there that will do a better job than Arteta's doing. We create too many excuses for managers sometimes. I give them time, but there's nothing to suggest that I should give Arteta time. The football is bad. The morale is horrible. There's players mocking him on Twitter, on Instagram. Bro, it's a mess over there, right? And he's tried to do the disciplinary. I said the word right, innit?
Yeah.
You know when you're thinking, I'm about to say disciplinarian, but anyway. So yeah. Anyway. So
Man,
you know,
his own head, you know.
You definitely
So
said
English. No, wait. So obviously, when you're doing that, right? When you have somebody try to do that kind of like strict teacher thing,
Yeah.
and it's backfiring, bro. Aubameyang can't hit a barn door, mate. Do you know what I mean? The team is going completely the other way, and we're gonna keep saying process, but I don't agree with it, man. I don't agree with it. You just gotta get rid, man.
How to Arsenal? Let's go into the moment of the weekend, which was supposed to be the moment of the weekend, and turned out not to be the Manchester derby. That pretty much sums it up. I don't want to go into the match too tough, but I just want to get your opinion on. Well, get you guys' opinions on two things. One, the state of derbies. Two, the state of top 6 matches, and 3, for probably more you, the state of both of those clubs. One thing I saw from City is that the lack of pressing is just so obvious. One thing that I saw, and it was like, okay, cool, what, they're getting clean sheets now. And it's like, yeah, but their football's just dire.
Yeah.
The football's dire. What? City. It's just.
I think they got what? They got 6 clean sheets in a row.
Something like 6 clean sheets, and people are going like, "Oh, Ruben Diaz, Stones, and everything." And I'm thinking,
You hyped him.
is it?
That's what I was saying. They said Diaz hype.
And it's like, is it that, or is it because the football is so still that no one can really break you down because you're not being expansive? There's not gaps, and it's just sort of like, yeah, lack of risk, lack of anything. Well, I just wanted to get your thoughts on. And the question I was going to ask you is, why couldn't United do that performance against Leipzig? Because that would have got you through.
Bro, it wasn't even, bro, City, I've said it many times, they're just not that good. It's as simple as that. I'm disappointed that we drew. I would have wanted to win. I'm like, what is that? Like, the inferiority complex that United had, like say City or some like crazy
like
big
they were
team.
still the Centurions.
Like, exactly. I'm like, yo, this City team's average, bro. And I've said it many times. They're not the same City as before. People were atting us and stuff after little wins against Fulham and Burnley, normal everyday wins that City would have. Come against United, they can't, no shots on target in the second half, bro. The City are not that good, bro. Like, and I keep saying, De Bruyne has a bad game. None of them are doing a thing. Wan-Bissaka will lock Sterling. Jesus ain't gonna bother Maguire and them. It's just Luke Shaw was eating up Mahrez and Ferran Torres. It was such a boring game, but people are talking about like United should have done more, blah blah. But at the same time, like City are just, it was just 2 teams that just don't have. And look, it was 2 teams that don't really, I feel like, don't really know where their season's gonna go, what they're trying to do. They're just playing at the moment. Honestly, they're just playing. And I was just looking at it like, people are going to talk about, all right, no fans are right. So the derby feistiness will be a bit down. There's never really been a feistiness between, since Pep has been, it's not really a thing like, but it's not the Fergie days and Sven-Göran Eriksson and all them type of days. Those days are gone, bro. You know what I mean? So
Giovanni.
Yeah. So when
meaty rivalry.
But remember them days? Yeah, they used to have like Joey Bartons and that in the midfield. They had right fit local lad and all them things there. Like, bro, I remember Benjani beat us on the day of Munich air disaster and all that. Bro, it was crazy. But
that celebration,
like Benjani,
yeah,
legend.
But like, so when Ray Keane is talking about like, the thing about it, everyone's going to talk about how these guys are hugging each other and stuff after the game. That's what came out of it, right?
Roy Keane's right.
He's right. I'm not even thinking about why they doing this because of the height of a rivalry. I don't even think about that. I'm thinking you two are hugging each other, or everyone's hugging each other because you're actually all content with that result.
It's relief.
That's the thing.
It's relief.
Maguire's hugging him like, oh yeah, we didn't lose today. Stones is hugging him. Oh, we didn't lose today. I'm finally back in the team. Yeah, but that is embarrassing, bro. That's
Gareth's watching somewhere.
That's the most embarrassing thing about it. United everyone should have just walked down the tunnel because you should be wanting to beat Man City. Man City are not that good. And
especially after the midweek thing as well. I that's the thing for me that kind of like all the top 6 games, and that's why your next game for me is going to be interesting, whether that will be a natural game or not. All the top 6 games this week, this year have been a bit stale. we've said for the longest that we feel like the quality of football being played is not the greatest for whatever reason you may think it is, but it just doesn't feel like the greatest. I feel like there's a lack of spark in players that takes initiatives, or sometimes, like, perfect example, I say someone like Hazard. Like, from whatever people say about his goal scoring return and whatnot, you knew that was the sort of player that in a blink of an eye, a moment can happen.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Premier League games, and some of the lower teams have these players that will do something. But when I'm watching these Big Six games, I don't see that moment of magic.
Bro, do you know
I just see like what we
right.
said, two systems or two
Yeah.
robots going at each other. It's like watching Robot Wars, and it's like, okay, this one's just doing this, and it's like it's
what
not
this
as
game reminded
entertaining
me of?
anymore.
No, I hear you. Do you know what this game reminded me of? The Chelsea United one, literally a couple weeks back.
Yeah,
Two teams that just turned up, happy to get the clean sheet. Like, you don't attack, we want to attack. We're happy to kind of take
live
it.
for another day
And
sort of
you
a result.
think, like, for a derby, for two teams that are kind of struggling for form, you want to kind of
City's not struggling at the moment for form.
well, apart from clean sheets defensively.
No.
I mean,
They've been
They
their
really
form's
want to
been
get
better.
up the table, is what I'm saying. This is the kind of game you make a stamp, you make a statement in a United derby or Manchester derby, sorry, and that's the kind of performance you get
Bro,
out. It's
the
like, for
thing
me,
that-
I don't know.
The thing I took most away from it, right, is United were in the match. Yeah, we just made one sub, a like for like, Greenwood off for Martial. No change of formation, no attacking intent, just like for like sub. Pep kept Rodri and Fernandinho basically the whole game. He's thinking, shit, I don't want to concede, I don't want to lose. Left Foden on the bench,
Free
Gundogan.
Foden, free Van der Beek.
He just did a like for like. He basically just did a like for like himself. Ferran Torres for Mahrez. None of the team.
Nobody
none
wanted
of
to take
them
the
wanted
initiative.
to win that
Yeah.
match, and it's been, bro. All the Big Six games this season have been just average, and
United,
as you
Arsenal,
said with like
what was that
Hazard and
decided
stuff.
by a pen. Chelsea Spurs,
Exactly,
dead game.
bro. United Arsenal, dead game. It was
Yeah.
decided by a penalty in the 70-something minute. It's all these games
Liverpool
nowadays.
Arsenal was good though.
Who?
Liverpool Arsenal.
I can't even remember that match.
I don't see
don't
Liverpool
remember
Arsenal as
who-
a top 6 game. Like, I know, and this is why.
What was he
No,
doing? I can't
I'm not
remember the
even.
score.
I'm not even
Nah,
trying to be
shit,
rude, but this is why, like,
was the score?
sometimes with media perception,
Liverpool
and
smoked them
everything,
3-0.
Liverpool, yeah.
with media perception and everything, it's so mad because at the same time that they'll say that that's a top 6 game, they will say that Arsenal are a relegation side. So all of this phrasing of stuff for me is
Bro,
always
this
like
top 6 stuff is just
Yeah.
marketing.
exactly.
That's all it is. It's just marketing.
But the games are not even that good anymore. So what are you marketing per se?
Is literally
Like some of the
just
best
marketing.
games this season have not been the big sides. They've been some of like the quote unquote smaller sides that have tried to play football, tried to be progressive,
Exactly.
and it's like, okay, we're getting goals here. Chelsea Brighton was an entertaining game. That's not
Bro,
a top 6 game.
Aston Villa Brighton was a great game, mate. I remember these type of games. There's some games, you know what it is? These big teams, bro, systems and stuff are just killing the game. I don't care what no one says to me.
So
I
you know
don't
what?
enjoy it. And then what you just said about Hazard, bro, like the distance between Hazard and the next best player was miles, mate. Because these guys are just, bro, I can't believe some of these players.
Instead of
I can't
going-
believe we're calling Manes and Salahs and KDBs and these lot are the best. Oh, bro, it's
KDB,
sad, man.
Bruno, they were saying.
So
It's sad, bro.
instead of
KDB
going
and Bruno,
over
that
like-
was the heavyweight clash.
that was the heavyweight clash.
Flipping hell,
Instead
mate.
of going over like
Neither
dead
one
weight
of
of
them
stuff
turn
that
around.
we've discussed, because we've said for a long time that it's dead and everything. We watch different football here. Well, I like to believe so anyway, because we talk about it. In terms of the league that you say is probably the most exciting, what is it? Because everyone says the Premier League is the best league. Okay, cool. You know what? It can be the best league because of the market and all
Premier
of
League's
this type of
just the
stuff.
best promos.
But what would you say is the most entertaining league to watch and everything? For a while, I've said it and people have laughed. I actually enjoy watching Championship football because at least I see a bit of quality.
We're going hipster there.
It's not even hipster. It's available. It's on
Say
Sky.
less.
It's
We're
on
doing
Sky.
hipsters.
No, not even
I
that.
like the Belgian league, yeah.
Saying what? Columbus Crew. What's that Columbus
And the
Crew?
Lechten, them man. You know, I'll be scouting you. Hey,
Antwerp.
what are you
Antwerp,
in your
get-
top today? And Columbus Crew actually
Yeah,
won.
yeah,
Come on, G. Second MLS Cup and that. Come on.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
MLS Cup.
You got ripped for that shirt.
Yeah, I remember that. I killed him, innit?
No,
I killed him, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
pussy, yo. That man coming with River Plate. What's what am I
Hey,
saying? Coming with River Plate.
River Plate
Plate
have history, bro. Trust me. I don't know about Columbus.
That's the
Hey,
second
for
one,
real.
isn't it?
For real.
So I was manifesting. But there's more desire. There's more desire. You see like little players of like actual talent and
Yeah.
doing stuff. It's not all system. And teams actually go for it. It's not kind of like, we'll play for a draw here. And you don't even know what's going to happen. Like at the top, you have like 6 or 7 teams that compete. And I'm not saying that's the best. I'm just saying in terms of pure enjoyment factor of like this is bare fuckery sometimes, or this is this is decent. That's Championship. But what would you guys say is the most enjoyable league for you guys to watch?
Personally, if you're saying like entertainment enjoyable like that,
You're gonna say German.
The Bundesliga. I'm sorry,
Yeah, because
like,
it's open,
every
innit?
team's playing a high line. Every team's got flying fullbacks, trying to play attacking, intricate football, and it's like, I get it. It's a mess. I expect no quality defending. It's all all guns blazing. But boy, for me, I think for a goals perspective, individual talent, you see gems coming up. You always see kind of interesting one or two, whether it's Gladbach, Frankfurt. There's always an interesting team there.
Stuttgart coming up now.
Stuttgart, yeah. Who? Union Berlin?
Berlin,
No.
they're doing that.
Hertha Berlin are the ones to watch.
For me, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really enjoy football at the moment.
Yeah,
man.
at the minute,
being
it's
serious.
like
No,
but
keep talking.
What is it? That,
Keep
like,
talking,
that guy in it.
Keep talking.
I'm being serious. I don't want to seem like a Grinch or nothing, yeah, but I don't enjoy football at the moment, and I don't enjoy watching the La Liga. I mean,
No, I hear you.
I do not enjoy
I
watching
hear
La
you,
Liga.
go on.
I do not enjoy watching the Bundesliga. I don't enjoy watching the Premier League. Honestly, I'm only doing it because I got a podcast. Like, I'm being serious. I'm only
Man
watching
said,
football.
I'm being held bondage.
Bro, I swear, if I wasn't on a pod, I would not watch football at the moment.
You take a break.
For me, it's so bad.
No, but
Honestly,
yeah,
it's
it's
so
bad.
bad.
Let's get into it, because ultimately that we can
But
say
I
these
can't
things.
take
But
it anymore,
is it because of the lack of quality? Because I remember a while ago when we were saying that the lack of quality in football has decreased. And my argument was, because it's decreased, you've got all of these teams now that are a bit closer together, so it makes the Premier League a bit more competitive. That doesn't mean it's
the thing
sick.
is,
But
people
it
say
means
it's
because
you see that this.
do you understand where I'm coming
I get
from?
what you're saying, but you see,
Specify
less
the lack of
quality,
No,
but
it's
more
specify the lack
competitive.
of
it's not
quality,
this.
yeah.
It's what it is, right? It's people say like, oh no, do you know what? It's not a lack of quality. It's because the small teams have got better. So why is the Champions League so boring? I don't even enjoy watching Champions League.
Yeah.
Why is Champions League so boring? And I'm gonna listen. I made a tweet time ago. And for some reason, people just had an obsession because Liverpool were having a great season. Everyone seems to think that's calm. Everyone seems to have thought that it's a I hate Liverpool thing. Yeah, it's not. I've said it already. Okay, a fully fit Liverpool, I do not enjoy watching them play football, but they're a good team. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They're drilled, good team.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich are a good team. Now, when you take away Bayern Munich and Liverpool from world football at the moment, every team is average. I'm sorry, every team is not that good. PSG are not that good. Leipzig are not that good. Your Man United are not that good. Juve are not that good.
City.
Real Madrid are average. Barcelona are drowning. Atletico Madrid are just basic. They got us through the Champions League with 3 draws. Flipping out. Chelsea. Bro, like these
Madrid beat
teams,
them up still.
these teams, other than Bayern Munich and Liverpool, what teams are actually really, really good
Do you know what highlights?
People are
it for
telling
me?
me, do you know what?
Sorry,
to be
bro.
honest, Spurs are one of the best in the world. I'm like, then the Europa League.
Do you know what sums it up and highlights it
Flip it
for
out.
me?
Don't
Yeah,
take
and
shots
again, I'm not trying to make this whole like a whole football hipster sort of conversation or football or whatever you want to call it. But if you notice, in recent years, people have become excited about these emerging teams because it's a breath of fresh air from the stale football we've seen from big teams. So, for example, people come out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, you need to watch Atalanta. They score 100 goals per season. It's amazing. You need to watch Ajax. You need to watch Leipzig. It's different. It's whatnot."
Bro, when I was watching Ajax v Liverpool, I thought like this is magic. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I enjoyed it, bro. It was so good. But like exactly what you're saying, that's because it was a breath of fresh air. I'm like, whoa, football's being played today.
Football is
yeah,
here.
bro. I'm enjoying this shit.
And the thing is, that's the thing with hipster football though. Like, a lot of the time it's not sustainable. A lot of the time when you kind of meet like quality squads and everything, it goes out the window. And because sometimes the quality of players is not there, it's not sustainable. So like, are Atalanta gonna go and win a league? Are Leipzig gonna go and win a league? Or if you've got all of these, let's say like Dortmund for sometimes when they do their thing, if they've got loads of young players, can you sustain that sort of challenge with just young players? So that the good parts of football are not long sustaining.
Yeah.
The
thing is as well though, I think the
let me play it quickly, please, because it's too funny.
Go on. Who is it? Is it the Mark Warburton, whatever his name is?
Nah, I don't even know who he is, bro. He's funny.
Warburton.
We get it for.
To be honest, I'm rapidly falling out of love with football. I just want to watch the
That's you in a
honestly,
nutshell.
that is genuinely,
that is you.
That's genuinely
But for me, I think when you say like the game has dipped in quality and everything, it can't just be a thing where teams have randomly just all of a sudden declined simultaneously. I think what it is the pool of players, i.e. the world-class talent that is available now, is smaller than it's ever been, I feel like. And I feel like when you look at the top teams who they're signing on or who they're relying. They're relying on aging stars. That kind of middle bracket of the mid to late 20s, I feel like there's not that great pool of world-class players. I feel like now there's a lot of young talents, the Mbappes, the Haalands, But
I think
there's a crop coming through that maybe could, let's say, rejuvenate football. But I think that is like in 3-4 years' time. I think now we're just at a natural lull in football. It happens in
production got says you're gonna use voice this thing.
The thing is that you ain't saying that I get everything you man saying, but for me, I think that the rules have just pushed me away.
That is a big factor as well. No,
killing the game, but that's
definitely killed.
You can't tackle no more. You can't do anything.
That's definitely played a part.
Greenwood penalty the other day. I nearly turned off the TV.
The shoulder to shoulder. A clear shoulder to shoulder.
I think that is killing. That is killing a bit of the enjoyment, right?
But it's not the quality. It won't affect the quality, but it affects the game. It affects the motion of the game.
Yeah, with what you were saying is, I'm not with 1998 and below. There's a sick generation of players coming.
Yeah,
Haaland, Felix, Mbappe, Camavinga,
Sancho,
Greenwood, Foden, Sancho. There's so many names. Yeah, I keep saying these lot could revive the game because a lot of these guys are individual quality ballers. They do things off the cuff. But what it is that we're so fixated nowadays on system that the individualism is gone
taken
out of the
away.
game, bro. It's gone out of the game. You're watching teams, right? I'm watching. I don't even want to say any names because people are gonna say it's a gender against their club. But I'm watching somebody, right? To win a match, nobody's trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Everyone's just play your position and wait. Wingers are standing in the box like Vuad van Nistelrooy, waiting for the fullbacks to cross it in, or your midfielders crossing it. It's so static, it's so robotic, it's taking the enjoyment out of it. I can't, bro, and it's my club as well. It's every club, bro. It's dead to watch. And I'm being even nice saying that Liverpool are one of the best teams because they are. But to watch them, it's dead. And Bayern Munich as well, this season hasn't been that good to even watch myself. But I give them their good team. Liverpool and Bayern Munich are good teams. But the rest of these teams, honestly,
they're the only top tier teams.
Yeah, you look at some of these teams in comparison to what their teams used to be. Bro, it's generally scary what's going on, bro.
Better than the Ribery Robin team?
No, it's honestly but the thing is, at least that's a good natural progression. They're maintaining their standards. Man United, Man City,
Juve, for example. Juve signed Ronaldo to take that next level and be there with the Liverpools and Bayern. And how far off are they? And you look at the Arthur signing they've done and all these kind of weird deals.
That's money laundry, bro.
It's like I don't know.
What it is as well, is there's also for me it's also the influx of money in the game nowadays as well. Money is ruining the game.
In what sense?
There's players, right? There's good players out there, right, that play for teams that can't be signed and be able to show themselves on the highest stage. For example, like let's say for example a Grealish, for example. I'm just saying it, or Haaland, I don't really care who, or Sancho. You have to pay 100 million for them. No one's gonna buy them. They're going to stay at these dead clubs and then not develop and just stay there and that's it. Back in the day, I'm not saying that I want football to just be dominant of top teams and that's it. But back in the day, you can buy these, like you can take these players off.
Young
the team
talent now though is being priced out because
being
of purely
priced
its
out.
Potential thing. It's
priced out.
And
do you know what a key
that
thing
comes back to the lack of pool talent? Where I was saying you haven't got those ready-made players now that people are wanting to buy.
I would say that
Chelsea are breaking the bank.
Exactly.
120 mil for potential of Kai Havertz might be that next one. We're gonna go and break the bank, and that's what teams are doing. They don't have that pool of players.
Carl was here, and he made a solid point in terms of even if you look, and I've been fortunate to coach and everything, but even if you look at how things are with academies and everything and players coming through. Man coached up in the Midlands. Man was coaching up in the Midlands. We'll talk there.
I didn't know where you come
Man wanted to discredit you real quick.
No, but if you look at how academies are and how some people want to set like a philosophy and everything. Random example, Hasenhüttl, like they were saying today that he does all of the coaching sessions for all of the age groups and everything. If you get sacked tomorrow, you might get someone else come in, they start doing everything and whatnot. And if you get all of these sort of registered coaches, all of that individuality that you kind of used to find in young players, you don't have it because you might get this one kid and it's like, you know what, just go down the byline, cross. When he then becomes a player, becomes
a system player, basically.
There we go. I feel there's part of that. I feel there's part of that because
sport goes in cycles. Goes in cycles. I think they said the NBA. Obviously, I wasn't born, but the 70s apparently wasn't that great of an era. Just like one of them waited until Magic Johnson and them lot came
80s
through.
got lit.
Yeah, and then Michael
You
Jordan
showing
took
your age
over.
now, boy.
And then, you know what I mean? No, but for real, like, that is, maybe this is the period of, for me, when
The
it's
lull.
just dead.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even joking, there's just no... the star quality is just not there. It's just not there. Like, we're hanging on to like, I'm so upset Hazard's injured. Like, I need something like that. Neymar's this, and when I'm seeing people running agendas on Neymar and that, I'm like, you guys hate football because these are the players that we need to be cherishing.
It happens every 10
so
years.
dead,
I don't
man,
know
these guys.
If you
Can
even
I give a
remember,
devil's-
just before Pep's Spain kind of era and kind of like 05, I feel like there was a similar lull period, like post Ronaldinho almost, and before Pep's Spain. Like every decade or so, I feel like these natural progression dips and lulls have to happen. in
what
football.
I would ask,
before Pep.
Before Pep's Barcelona, who was like the star players of the world at that time? Kaká, maybe.
Ronaldinho,
Tell you what,
Kaká.
Ronaldinho, and that was it.
let me ask 2 questions.
Zidane
Zidane was
Cup.
was Zidane
Look
was
what he did
done.
at the World Cup.
06.
Henry.
Henry was Barcelona declining just before that.
Oh, you're
Before
talking about
Pep. That's what I'm
2008.
saying.
You're
From
talking
like
about-
05
come on,
05 to
Wazza,
like
it was
08.
Wazza, Cristiano. You're taking
Cristiano was baby.
before Pep.
Before Pep, I
No,
don't know.
No, I don't
know
think.
what
I
you're
don't
talking
think. I don't think there was a. I hear what you're trying to say, but I don't feel like this moment now. I don't think this
know.
moment now in anything I've seen can be compared to anything. But I'll ask this question: how long do you think that this sort of dip or decline has been going on for 1 and 2? Purely
tell you
devil's
when.
advocate. This moment right now.
Exactly when.
This
Why did you sound like you had an answer straight away?
I tell you when. I knew when
the
the game
second
died.
one in this moment right now, how much of that this moment right now, and just thinking of this season, how I think, how much is it down to sort of COVID, no fans, and just all of the kind of
Look,
the
that
rebut of
that could have an effect.
Tell us when the
Obviously,
game died.
Listen, yeah, COVID and that could have an effect. I'm not gonna like, of course, that could have an effect, and players are playing a lot of games now, and blah blah blah. So that is understandable, but the patterns have not changed from last.
No, of
season
course, I'm just
or
saying.
whatever. For me,
But when do you feel
For
like the
me,
game started dying?
football died in 2012. That's when I think it died. I think after 2012, that was the peak of that was the peak of life. I'm telling you now. After peak 2012, that was the peak. Yeah, that's when Aguero did that mad thing in the last. That's when Drogba won the Champions League. That's when there was so much going on. I remember there was the London. That's
can
different
hear
stuff. That 2012, bro. And the thing is, people are gonna say people. This,
said
what,
the Mayans
what
are
makes
right.
what makes me laugh, right, is that people say to me, "Oh, you're being biased because of the Liverpool thing." Do people know Man United won the Premier League in 2013? That season
13, that was
sucked.
Fergie's
Yeah, when
final year,
Van
innit?
Persie won. When Van Persie, yeah,
Arguably one of the
Fergie's-
worst squads.
bro. That season sucked, bro. Like, we look at it, yeah. Like, fam,
With that
for me,
flannel
Cristiano
kit, do you
Ronaldo,
remember?
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi were carrying the game. And now the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi are now just
Fading out.
pensioners, they're just pensioners
It's showing
now.
its true colours,
I'm just
bruv.
like, Jesus, man, what is really like? I can't hang on to their greatness and 3 in a row and Ballon d'Or. I can't. It's just, bro.
It was mentioned
bland,
here a while
bro.
ago,
Games are
and
bland.
we were saying basically after this sort of back and forth between them two, who is in prime position to sort of, or who are like the group that are in prime position to take
Can
over
you name me 5 men
And-
right now who are primed to take over?
Ballon d'Or? And the reason
Lewandowski?
why it was so bad was because Lewandowski's just gone on a magic cool, but Hazard and Neymar, you look at them sometimes and it's like,
No.
Nah.
And then you're gonna- and then-
that's
KDB,
what I mean of that.
KDB,
and then
Mane.
you ask yourself, okay, what is it going to be? Mbappe and Haaland? It's like, hold on,
Yeah.
that's a skip.
That's,
you,
but that's what I'm saying. It's a fast forward. There's that lull
You
period,
skipped
I'm
a lot
saying.
of years to
that's
get
what-
to
remember
them.
I said, I was saying to you guys privately, players that were born in the 90s haven't. Players that were born in the 90s,
They didn't fulfill.
I don't know about they didn't. Maybe they did not fulfill, but they didn't do what the 80s
They didn't.
babies
They didn't
did.
lay a punch into the guys before them.
Yeah, the 90s babies have been good, but the 80s babies completely dominated. And now I think that if it's going to be the next one, it's going to be that late
The late 90s,
or
early
the
noughties.
2000s. Like,
Early
it's
noughties.
just like when I
That's
look
the
at these
thousands.
guys, it's just what you say?
That's for the hood. I said the thousands.
Oh, man.
You know, it's good. Oh, is it noughties? That was it.
Nah,
Yes.
bro, honestly,
Sorry,
like,
man.
but I don't even want to look. The
The
thing
80s
is,
rubbing off.
You're Dutch. You're Dutch.
the thing is, yeah, I don't want to even seem like it's too much like complain
You're
or
too
whatever.
down in the
But
dumps, man.
yeah, but it's
You're gonna
just,
be like, yo, what's
it's,
this?
bro, it's not good, man. It's just.
No,
not
I hear
good,
you, but
in my
listen,
opinion.
I don't want to
All
make
I'm
them.
saying
I don't
is
want to
I'm
depress
glad
the
that
mood.
We've got a nice young crop coming through.
Same.
Well,
I
there's
feel
hope.
like
There's hope.
could
But what I would say
actually
is
save
this:
it, yeah.
is there any hope if you've got rubbish managers in place managing them?
This is what I mean.
And no,
the
because
young the
managers
hiring
is
of
the
young
same-
gaffers.
Because
managers is the same thing.
there's
They
young
come in
managers-
crops as well. Like now more than ever, we're seeing these Marco Roses, these random German managers coming out of nowhere for a season. They'll do well, play good football, and it's like, he's the next Jose Mourinho. It's like, come on. Like managers, the same thing. I think you'll
Alright,
get
cool.
one that kind of
You're gonna get.
trails
It's
the
gonna go
blaze.
in cycles.
Klopp
but
will
this
kind of
just-
be the next one to hold it for the next 10 years or whatever and be.
This is the next. I
Is
feel
that
like
good
this is
news?
the next.
But listen, I don't
It's a
want
cycle,
to. I
innit?
don't want
It's
us
a cycle.
I don't want to dampen the mood, but we have to discuss some midweek stuff that happened.
What
and
about
that-
Chelsea losing?
No, we're going to discuss that as well. That's part of it, and the Spurs result. We have to discuss that as well.
I
But
like Cam.
Conte-
Accountability.
You know what I mean?
Conte, no, we're going to discuss all that. But Conte, that's what I'm trying to move us on. We ain't got limited time.
Yeah.
Conte, Inter out.
Another supposedly massive club of world football, Inter, getting bounced out fourth.
Let's
Sad,
discuss
man.
it.
It's
Though.
really sad,
Is that in terms of
I feel
Conte?
for Conte, man.
As a manager, we know he's done great stuff, but does this sort of thing kind of put a stain on everything he's achieved? Is he still elite with this?
No. Let's not do that. Let's not
It's a
stain
question,
everything
ask a
he's done. No. He's not. It's not. I wouldn't say it's stained anything he's achieved. For me, he's a great manager, but he's not in that top tier, if that makes
Upper
sense.
echelon.
Because for me, I think.
But
he
we had him there.
Let's
Let's be honest. Last
could say-
season,
you
the
could-
top 5 managers, we all had Conte.
Maybe the
top four.
pool's a little shallow, so we.
Right, you know what I'm saying,
But
right?
with Conte, I feel like he builds great teams to compete for the league. But I feel like in Europe, this ain't the first time as well. He's had a team dumped
Yeah.
into
It's not-
Europa.
it's not-
Juve. He
No,
got
but
them-
this isn't
he got
dumped
them
into
group stage.
Europa.
He did it like-
This is he got bounced out
No,
of everything.
completely. But I'm saying he got Juve to Europa, got group stage.
Yeah,
knocked out
remember
as
the
well.
Lukaku thing?
He did it last
Chelsea
year as
was
well,
it
Inter.
first knockout round or something like that. So Europe, every club he's gone to, he's not had any kind of success there whatsoever. I feel like he's one of them league merchants almost. And Europe, now he's what 10 years he's been at top
Bro, I
clubs.
said his record.
It's
Wins
not
12.
good, bruv.
He's won 12 games in Europe, drawn 11, lost 11. He's almost lost as many games as he's
you
won
see
in
what
Europe.
I'm saying? Like,
It's disgusting.
so for me, I think he's still a great manager. I don't think you can kind of dispute his man management tactically, what he brings. But in that kind of big game in a European night, I don't know if he's kind of got that.
But this is the thing. This is the question we have to ask ourselves, right? I don't feel like any club's employing him or employs you just to achieve one initiative. Do you get what I'm coming
Yeah.
from? Like, I don't
But
think.
Europe's always tough as well. It's like
I hear you. But
Production
like,
always says with the Pep thing, it's like sometimes it's luck of the draw. Sometimes
of
it
course,
ain't easy.
of
Do you know
course,
what I mean?
and I heard that, and
Nah.
that's
It's
It's
and
you've
that's,
got to
and
turn
that's
up
where
on the night, and I get it. They had a similar situation last year, was it?
They
When
bounced it
and they got bounced out
No,
again as well.
I heard
so-
that
Still
because
didn't,
you can
yeah.
say the same thing with United's group of death, but to a certain extent, you expect if you're a massive footballing establishment, you've been given tools because it's not like he hasn't been given
That's
what
the
he
thing,
needs.
yeah. He's actually
You
been
have
fully
players
backed.
of good profile. I mean, Hakimi could have gone back
Doesn't
to Madrid.
sign
You've
well.
got
That's the
Hakim.
question.
You've
I
got-
feel like he's signed a lot of.
He doesn't sign
He's
well.
signed
He's
a
never
lot of
signed well.
leftovers. I feel like he signed a lot of
But
Premier League
but that
leftovers.
is what he chose to
That's
do.
the thing.
That's what
I think
he
he's
chose
chosen
to do.
wrong in certain aspects. That's what I think with this
And that's
team,
why
you know
we
what?
have to
I think
address.
Ericsson. What the hell was
You
that
know, with
situation?
Conte, right? Conte's type of guy who, if you can just do so, for example, if I need
Do
someone,
this job.
yeah. So, for example, if I need someone that can get up and down, Moses. Like, if I need someone that can cross, Young. He doesn't care. He doesn't care
yeah.
about how quality you are. Can you do that specific
Functional,
thing that
functional.
he wants?
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, you can. He doesn't care if you're good or bad. He'll throw you into the team. It's just as simple
And I think
as
that's
that.
cost
like-
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
cost him.
bro, I don't know if it's maybe a pattern through his whole career, but I'm sure Conte's
feel like
only
you
won
almost-
one cup in his
you
whole career.
believe
The FA
he-
Cup with Chelsea was the only cup that Conte's won. It's
can
weird.
double
Yeah,
check
I'm
it.
sure-
No
I'm
Coppa
sure it was.
Italians?
I don't think
I'm
he
sure
has
he's
any
got
of
a
that.
couple Coppa
I don't know.
Italians.
Check.
Keep talking.
Conte,
about it.
because
Invincibles though.
yeah, listen. The thing is, look, people. It's weird how you've got the image. That it's so different how people talk about Allegri and talk about Conte. We speak about Conte like pinnacle, and we speak about Allegri like, you know.
Listen.
I think that Premier League with Chelsea really boosted Conte's
Yes.
name, which is fair because he did win the Premier League.
It was the way he did it as
in
well.
a good
For
way.
me,
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
He won it in a
Came
good
in
way,
and everyone
changed the
played
And
five at
even
the
like,
back.
even like for me,
So-
how he changed Juve. He made Juve the machine they became that Allegri got a lot of credit for. I feel like he built that and started that because Juve was 7th when he took over. They'd just come back from relegation. They'd had a little Champions League run and it didn't go well. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to put a system in place to make you lot the standard bearers. 7 years in a row after that or whatever it was. So for me, it's like, you got to give him credit for that. You
Yeah,
can't-
but Allegri took them closer. He
Allegri
took them
got to a
closer.
final and lost.
2 finals.
The same
That's
thing we
decent.
laugh at Poch
No,
about
you're-
saying, he's the
2
ultimate
finals,
bridesmaid.
but he lost.
Allegri's
I'm right. He's only got one
He's
cup.
won Super Cups.
That's
Yeah.
me. He's won one cup, so maybe he's just not a cup manager. But at the same time,
I wouldn't put Allegri ahead of Conte though. I
boy,
wouldn't put-
I'm
me
just
personally,
saying.
no.
I'm just saying. We're putting a lot of stock on the Serie A's. which Allegri's got as well, right? And he took them close. Like, Allegri almost got to the Champions. He almost lost to 2 Champions League finals.
Ancelotti's team.
Who's?
Said, alright, cool. AC initially. Said,
Won
alright,
it-
cool.
won
Let
it
me,
with
let me get
AC.
some of this clout. Took over Conte's team. Said, alright, let me collect some of that. And now he's just chilling back, and everyone's like,
He's just waiting.
yeah, he's a top manager.
No,
He's
I'm not saying he's the most amazing manager. I'm just saying if we're gonna have Conte as this, it's maybe because he went, as I was saying, he went to another league and won.
I think it was
Chelsea,
the
but-
influence.
Yeah,
Like, what he
but
did at that time as
Europe,
well.
he needs to step into the line.
But yeah,
Yeah,
bro,
100%,
we can't
100%.
excuse this. We're
Yeah,
trying to,
no,
we're trying to dance
I'm
around
not-
this.
I'm
It's
saying this,
disgusting,
yeah.
bro. What he's doing in Europe is horrible.
Yeah.
You can't be getting bounced out fourth. Yeah,
That's
fourth.
shocking.
Then last season you got bounced again
Europa.
to Europa League, and you didn't even win the Europa League. You got bounced it, bro. In Europe, he's on fraud watch. It has to be real. In Europe, he's on fraud watch. Wenger,
Well, he's not
Arsene
because-
Wenger gets killed
Because
for
there's
his
no
European
Europe for him
record.
this year. So
He's,
not on
he's,
fraud.
he's worse than Arsene Wenger.
You can't be on
in
fraud
Europe.
watch if you're not in Europe. Like, you have to wait till next year.
Bro,
But,
I'm not
the
saying
kind of guy
Conte is
as-
a fraud. I'm not saying that.
But you're
But I'm
saying there's an element
we
of
can't
him that
act
needs
like
to.
this European thing
No, I
should
hear
just
it.
be a blight.
It can't be
It's
ignored.
horrible,
For time purposes, in terms of what happened midweek, like how did you feel for it? Like,
with United.
yeah,
It's bro. Listen, Oli just got it all wrong. It's just as simple as that. And
Crashing,
as I said,
crashing out.
as I said
you
to
mentioned
guys-
something in the video. It's like that. Usually, that would be inexcusable.
Bro,
Like, that would be
I said to you
inexcusable.
guys,
So how do you feel about
BGBs.
that? Because he still seems like he's getting support.
bullies.
Do you get where I'm
say?
coming from? Like you mentioned that is something that's typically inexcusable, but he's still seeming to get support. So in terms of United, where do you think that leaves United?
it's not going to do nothing. It's not going to do nothing because the board is still going to back him. Like, he's going to stay in charge. I said the week before I said, look, you can't be going goals down. It's not sustainable. You think you can be doing this comeback king shit in Europe? Go try. Go on. Go try. Go 3-0 down and try and do some miraculous comeback. Go, please. Look at them.
They actually
Ow.
tried it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Harry Maguire holding his head at the end like,
bro,
oh my
we
god,
almost
we
made
were so
it.
nearly there.
Bro,
Shut up.
Do you remember?
Honestly,
The old school Champions League game, PlayStation 2, yeah, and you could do the modes, yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like you're 3-0 down, you only have 20 minutes
Oh
to play, and you start straight off.
challenge mode and shit, yeah.
That's what it reminds
Bro,
me of.
like, look, United. To be honest, we didn't even. The 2 goals that we scored were dead as well. Like, it wasn't a penalty, and then there was some mess. It hit off Maguire's hand. I don't even really know. Like, to me, Oli got his tactics completely wrong. Yeah, in that game, we went out there, got blown out the water. In the first 25, 30 minutes. Bro, it's a broken record, man. It's
No,
a
I hear
broken
you.
record.
We don't need to go over the same things again. I just wanted to.
It's just,
Hey.
he's gonna keep the job. Now
Hey.
he drew against City.
Europa-
That's another
Europa
7 games
though?
in charge.
Interesting.
There's a lot of teams in there.
interesting.
Some whack teams.
No. There's a lot of.
Spurs, United, Arsenal, Inter, AC, Napoli,
Inter are not there,
Leverkusen.
bro.
Roma.
Oh, sorry, AC,
Roma.
Napoli. I just saw Milan, so I just
Sociedad,
AC,
you're doing well in the league as
Sociedad,
well.
Leverkusen, Shakhtar, Villarreal, Ajax. Bro,
Average.
up for
Who
grabs.
you got winning it?
We're coming.
I respect it.
Mate,
Bro,
who
I'm
you
not
got
even
winning?
thinking about Europa League, man.
Spurs or Ajax? That's what I'll say. That's what I want
I
to
don't
win.
even know, bro. I can't even lie to you. I actually don't know.
Listen, it could be one of them Shakhtar years. You know,
It could be one of them Sociedad years. For some
Dinamo
reason, they might say,
Kiev,
you know
one of
what?
them weird
We
European
don't want the league. Let's just try and. I
David
honestly
Silva
don't know.
magic.
Listen, I don't know. But do United have to be competing for that?
If they want, it
Cuz.
doesn't really bother me.
Is it if
the
they-
way the league table
Is it
looking,
if
might
they
be an
want,
avenue,
or
put it
is
that
it
way.
or is it like we have to? You know, like with the
What?
Josie
Am I
The
lying?
table's looking fine though. No,
I'm
United
saying,
ain't doing
like
that.
top 4. It's all looking a bit mishmashy. Things can change. It might be an avenue.
No,
The
if
game
they
in
win,
hand, if we
might
win,
be
we
an
got
avenue.
more points than
Chelsea, yeah.
Thanks.
Wow,
That,
what,
there's a
high
lot of
flying
silence
Chelsea?
right
Yeah.
there, boy.
No, that's what I said. Like if you win, like that's what. Remember last week.
They
we addressed-
surprised them, innit? They didn't know.
Last
boy.
week we addressed
I
how.
remember you shocked us last week. I was like, rah!
Last week the whole thing about how even with everything going, it still looks positive on one hand. At the same time,
This is why-
it could have been an amazing week. You go through. You're a couple points off. That's what I said. Now
Look,
it's
You know,
like
it's a mad stat
Europa.
about Chelsea though. You know they haven't beaten any team above 13th place this year.
I was just about
Yeah,
to
that
say,
stat
right,
is a
we're gonna
very
get
interesting
into
one.
that.
But
We're
that's
gonna get
crazy.
into that. But
No, it's a
with
crazy
the
stat.
Europa League, of course, United have
Hella
to go.
stat padding.
United, of course, have to go and win it. We have
Not
to
if
go
you're
and try
playing
and
the
win
teams
it.
you're playing. Do you say you have to go and try and win?
You have to go and try and win it because this is United. You have to go try and win every competition you're in. I know we'll probably get to the quarter semis minimum and then we'll see from there. But Ollie's shown we've got to 3 semi-finals in a row, bounced out of all of them. So when it comes to the real high leverage, yeah, beating top
Squeaky
6
bum
teams
time.
is good, but that real high leverage, get out of here, bro.
How long
No,
until he
no.
loses the BGB title?
Bro, he's not even won. We haven't even won in the league against any of the top six. I don't think. I don't think. Have we won against top six? Arsenal beat us. Spurs beat us.
Hey,
City drew.
title's gone.
Chelsea drew.
I don't know. But moving on back.
Just
onto-
regular boys now.
Moving on back to the
Normal
Prem.
lads.
It's not game boys.
Big. What was
Nah,
that?
respect the reggae boys. Liam Bailey and Bobby Reed today.
Leon Bailey.
Leon Bailey. What did I say?
Why did you say
Leon.
that? Say that
Leon.
again.
Oh,
He
I
said
said
Leon.
Leon.
No, say what you said.
Leon.
I said Bailey. You did.
I said Bailey. I didn't say that.
I said Bailey.
I did not say Bailey.
Listen back to the recording. Listen, mark this down. I'm gonna clip it.
I said Leon
I said
Bailey.
Bailey.
9 minutes.
Well, I'm
Hey, shit.
gonna go into the top 5 in terms of this week. It's like no one took initiative of securing the situation. We lost to Everton. Liverpool drew with Fulham. You guys drew with
Crystal meth. Shout out expressions. That's his
Oh my word!
thing.
You're
Crystal meth
done.
FC.
But on Chelsea, what you said, it's our first loss in 17.
Apparently, well, is it
Yeah.
17?
Well, it depends if you count that. If you don't count the Spurs game as a loss because it was extra time or something like that. So it depends on what you're.
The
what you're
Carabao
counting.
thing.
Yeah, it depends on what you're counting. But it's been a while. It's one of them games where like we could have.
There's a lot of firsts in this game.
Huh?
Mendy.
No, that was the second. That's
Mendy's had a
technically-
horrible little week.
that's
hasn't he?
technically his second mistake.
He's had a
but,
horrible little week. Now Peter Cech is warming up.
That
they're
player check thing is
development
is
squad tomorrow, innit?
Yeah.
They've already put him in
Got
the
the
team
cape
sheet,
out
I
now,
think.
innit? We've got the cape Clark Kent. I told you.
You are
As
so.
soon as there's danger, get the cape out. Peter
Cuz,
Cech.
He's
ran out
not
the office.
serious.
He's run out
That's
the
funny.
office.
That's funny. I can't. That's funny.
He's
I
so
said,
bored
I
all
said
the time.
I'm on my way.
Let's
The pager.
discuss.
But,
First and foremost, quickly, yeah,
Go
we
on.
can't. The thing about the Premier League at the moment is looking at the table. Yeah, you really just got to look at your club as individual about what's going on with your club, because you've got Chelsea who have been said to be doing great. You've got United who have been said to be doing poor.
And everyone's
You've
in the
got-
same position.
Bro, let me tell you something. If Aston Villa have played 10 games, if they win their 2 games,
In
which
hand,
is
yeah.
probably they won't, but,
But
if they
they're
win their
fourth
2
or
games,
third.
they're third.
Yeah, Southampton are top
Southampton
4.
have
They've been having a
good.
good season.
They're third right now. The Premier
This
League
goes
right
back
now
to what I
is
said
too
about it
skewed.
being competitive
Yeah.
because everyone's close to
It's
each other.
too,
But
it's too skewed
speaking on that game, that was a game where we could have been there for another 2 weeks. I don't think we would have scored. Like it just was one of them games. It's not one of them things where you down upon it, but like I wanted more. Like Reece James was the one that kind of looked like he was there
He's
to
a
play.
great player, man.
He's the maturity in his game has been amazing to see.
Been
But
a Reece James fan from day
I just
one, mate.
I just feel like what happened in that game where you can't kind of like draw too much in it is like I feel as we're going in this period, we need to figure out different ways of playing football. It's good to have your set to go to, but when you can't operate that, you need to go to something else. So, for example, you've got a thing where you've got a 21-year-old who's just had corona, who's not been his best. You're putting man out on the wing. You're then bringing Tammy Abraham on to play left wing. It's like, why don't you make a system that allows everyone to play in a position where they can kind of thrive? In-game management.
But in every
But
good
you
team,
just said
that
about
every
systems killing football.
nearly
No, that's what I said, changing it up. Like, we stuck to
having
the same
different
thing.
variables.
Like, I felt like in that sort of game, I know why he done it because it's been working, but in that sort of game, with everything going on, when you've got 4 centre-backs playing, can you look at your situation and go, okay, you know what? I trust my players' individual ability and brainwave. If I go, you mentioned the diamond, or you know what, let me bring on Billy Gilmore because he might be able to break a pass and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just do something, try something different. If we lose, we lose. Or if we can see another goal, we can see another goal. But at least we can say, you know what, we went for it. I just felt like how we were set up and the same thing was happening over and again. I just saw that we wasn't going to score. But again, like, cool, it's one loss in a long time. Just make sure you learn from that and then we go again against
But why
Wolves.
can't you beat good teams?
Why can't we beat good teams?
No,
I don't
Ziyech.
think it's about. No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I just feel like that issue I mentioned at the beginning of the season about getting the ball forward enough and penetrating. We're not
Who's
doing
meant
it.
to get the ball forward early from Chelsea?
Man said, Thiago,
Go on.
You say
we've
ball
got. We're
players
using a
centre
Wait,
fullback.
wait.
We're using a fullback.
He
We've
knows
got
he's gonna
Kovacic.
try and beat around it, man.
Well, why are you trying? But
I'm
okay.
I'm just asking you a question.
Our midfield.
Who is meant to
our
get the ball
midfield-
into your forward
Our
players early?
midfield are fullbacks.
But who in the midfield? Because you said that penetrating pass into, you need to be able to fire it into the Havertz and them, right? Who is meant to be
He used
providing
to be
that?
the Oracle.
Who's meant to be providing that? No, go answer the question. Why am I being
Why you doing what others is?
I'm just asking a question.
I remember that.
Who is the player that currently starts in Chelsea's lineup week in, week out, that's meant to be getting the ball, picking up the ball, and getting it into your forward players quickly?
I don't think Kante's there for that. But we can say Kante. I don't think he's there for that. He's not there for that. That's not what he's there for.
Hey, I'm just asking a question.
No,
I'm just asking a question.
I hear what you're
That's all
saying.
I'm saying.
Jokes aside, on what you're saying, what Kante does well is the defensive element. The penetrative pass it's not there, and that's why for someone like you would say, why not bring on Billy Gilmore? I agree with that.
Forget that you had Mount and Kovacic on the pitch yesterday. Why is nobody looking at them?
I feel like
why are we looking at Kante for penetrative passes when you've got them two? Mount has been talking about rejuvenated in this 8 role. Kovacic, star man last year.
Mount. I like Mount playing where Kovacic was playing. I don't like Mount anymore. Like, I think he's best there, like being like kind of like, well, you can say box to box-ish, but kind of that midfield like engine. I don't like him. When Chelsea play Mount the closest midfielder to the striker, and that kind of dead.
So what I feel happened in that game was you had Havertz, who when he was at Bayer was, even when he was out wide, his whole thing was
he's struggling.
I'm a goal scorer. He was still coming in. He wasn't a traditional winger. You've got Werner, who I would call a forward, not a traditional winger. That's right to say, right? Like he's goal scoring and everything. You've got Giroud.
Werner,
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like it was a mismatch. I feel like it was a mismatch, and we couldn't kind of operate to work to anyone's sort of benefit. That's why the one route that kept what was looking was, Reece James can put a good ball in.
Yeah.
But out of the 3, what's going to really happen there? I just feel like, again, that's where you need to work on how do I best operate with my team? Because even if we had the penetrative pass, we wasn't getting through like the defense. Those 4 centre backs set up shop really well, and
the way
Ancelotti, you have to credit Everton there, because one thing, I'm not saying this whole thing about they played well. Well, they had to be defensive. They had 4 centre backs. No, they missed 2 key players.
Yeah,
they had brought 2 young players in
and Hammers,
3 players, and they performed well. So I give them that credit, but I just
Michael
feel like
Keane and Godfrey.
They were
out. And Godfrey, since they signed him,
Everton
he's
were
been
brilliant defensively.
We didn't make it any easier. I don't think we had a shot on target in the second half.
Decent.
Yeah. I think our two closest chances were shots from outside the box. I was wondering why we didn't even do that more. We've known Pickford's record.
Yeah.
If you can't get into box, why not do that more? But again, it's one of those things where I wouldn't down on it too much. Like, you dust yourself and
I
you
don't think
go
you should
again.
down on it.
It's
when
interesting to
Chelsea,
observe, but sorry, bro. It goes back to what I said before. What I hope Frank doesn't do is say, because I've got attacking talent, I don't have to try and make them operate in a way. It's kind of like just leave them to their own devices. Because when you've got injuries like this and you haven't got natural wide men and you've got a mismatch, how are they going to work together to score goals? Like, Werner, we know, is a man that likes spinning behind. Giroud is someone that you can link up with. Havertz is like, he likes to do these third man runs. So why don't you get them to do that? Like, Havertz is struggling out there in the way.
The thing is, it's not even something that you need to delve on too much. But with Chelsea, the thing is, you've got players obviously like Havertz, who it's obvious he's going to take a while to settle. Like, Havertz is a laboured player. He's weak, first of all. He's laboured. He's just, that's the way he's slow tempo. It's going to take a while for him to settle to Premier League. Mate, it took Mesut Ozil, who's a million times better than him, time to settle into Premier League. And did he truly even settle? We don't even really know. But with Havertz, it's going to take a while, and people are going to get on his back and stuff, obviously. But I'm telling you, even this season, I don't think you should expect nothing from him. The one that I look at, I won't panic about Havertz, because Havertz is quality.
Havertz will come
quality player.
Good.
Werner, I don't know about Werner. I can't see him really nailing down a 9 role at Chelsea, and then you want him to be that wide forward. But then when Pulisic is back and that, I don't really know, man. I don't really know. I'm looking at him. He's quite easy to play against. And look at
for me, I would disagree. I feel like he's one of them people where,
but he'll score goals. But I think there'll be stat pad. He'll be stat padding. That's what I think.
I disagree. I feel like he can grow.
He
like
can easily become a squad player as well.
Man said, You don't spend that much on a squad player.
How much was Havertz? I mean, was
47 million?
40
was Werner.
Good 40 something.
I'm gonna read something quickly.
Change that.
Go on.
Havertz yeah, last season in the first 6 months of the season,
Was
he only
dead.
had 3 goals
Dead.
and assists in 17 games.
And the second half,
And then
14.
second half, he went on 15 goals and assists in
Ridiculous.
16 games. So people that already rated him off,
Listen,
That's
the
silly.
key thing I'll say about Havertz here is when you've got a young player,
Bundesliga,
when you've got a young player who was in the team where
yeah,
everything
yeah.
was kind of built around him and it was kind of he was the prince. They optimized everything around him. It's very easy for him to go and get goals and do what he was doing there. He's coming into a place now.
don't compare, mate.
It's a place. He's coming into a place now where it's not about you. Like the manager's not looking at you specifically and saying, "I'm building around you."
Yeah.
So he's got to take time to kind of build his character and everything. I feel like we'll be fine. I feel like he'll be fine. I feel like Werner's gonna get goals as well.
He will get
before what was going on now, no one was talking about Werner. It's the last 3 games. Everyone was like,
He'll get goals, but he's like a Reebok Salah.
I said the whole Salah thing time ago. Like, but Salah gets goals.
Yeah,
If a Reebok Salah gets 17 goals,
yeah, but Salah's got got more tech and more. He's a bit better like assistant creation.
what did Thing say? He's got post. He's got moves at the post. But there's not got any
post
post moves. Speaking on the one question that we had that came in about Spurs is this sort of football sustainable that you're trying to play?
Not against every single team. You can't copy and paste the same counter-attack inshallah. I get it in the big games when there's kind of more pressure, you're going to have less possession. But in certain games, especially against Palace, when we're meant to have more possession, meant to create more chances, I felt like today, especially in the second half, complete and massive drop-off. And it's just poor all round. But listen, at the end of the day, everyone else around us dropped points. So
Facts on
if
facts.
there's one
Liverpool
week,
fans were saying we didn't talk about them. Guys, unlucky, drew. You drew.
Bobby Reed turn up. You
That's
drew.
it. Like,
Holmes
get it every
random.
week.
Yeah,
You
like
drew.
can't talk
it
about all
happened.
20
We
teams.
can't
you
talk
know
about
what?
every
Studios.
team.
But you know
a
what?
lot of time,
Bro,
bro.
Listen,
we drew. Unlucky.
But you know what?
Liverpool
Well done for
wasn't
being
great
there, because
performance.
Pete Mandem was saying that it's over. Well done for being there. We see how long it lasts.
Hey, Jota,
and stop
that's
sacrificing.
going to be a
players.
big miss. Though.
Yeah, 100%. And stop sacrificing people for Van Dijk, because why is Van Dijk back in the gym and everyone else is getting injured? Does that not look fishy?
We say
Audience
soul
working.
snatching.
Audience working overtime. Anyway, champ of the week, dud of the week, and let's wrap it up there. Any champs?
My champ, I would say this week, I'm going to give it to Steven Gerrard and Rangers for the job he's doing there. I think what unbeaten this year, top in the Scottish League, ripping Celtic to shreds.
Tavernier's got like 15 goals.
The energy
Flipping
he's
hell.
built around that team now, it's like, you got to give credit where it's
He's
due,
breaking
you know
up the
what I mean?
dynasty.
Of all these kind of work experience managers, as I like to call them, these guys who've just come in out the gate, he's looking like one that he's
Devil's
building a
advocate,
little
we don't have to
something.
stay here
And
long.
for me,
Is
he's
it-
done
is it
the
easier job,
right
though?
step in going somewhere where he can build himself before he takes on that
No, I hear
big
that.
job. So
But
credit where
I'm not
credit's
even
due,
trying to
man.
discredit the league
Rangers.
and everything. Is that an easier task with that team? Like with Rangers?
No, because he's
Well, not
having to
overtake-
overtake
not
a
over-
Celtic team
not
that's been on the
overtaking
throne
Rangers, but
for
in
how long,
terms of-
bruv? Like,
Yeah.
I
what
mean,
Celtic?
He's doing
That's
his
what I'm
thing.
saying.
Doing
Like,
his
you
thing in
had to
Europe
dislodge.
too.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like RB Leipzig dislodging Bayern Munich. You would have to give
Credit, yeah.
Nagelsmann the credit and
Credit,
say,
yeah. No, I hear it.
he would be
Strong
getting all the
point.
clout. Give
Strong
Gerrard his
point.
dues, bro.
I hear you. No,
Yeah,
I've
man.
said that's a
He's
sick
doing
one.
well.
Who's
He's
yours?
doing well. I'll co-sign it. I ain't really got one.
I was gonna.
Grealish, nah?
No.
For his antics this week?
Grealish
Yeah, I
That's it.
mean,
I
you
was
saying
saying.
he's one of the
my
man
dog
them
gets
now.
my dog gets active, you get me? My
I was
dog
gonna
gets
say
active.
Fulham for showing spirit, because no one saw that happening. I tweeted before the game. I said, "Listen, Fulham need the spirited performances," and I respect that. In terms of duds, I've got Dortmund.
Go on.
I've got Dortmund as dud of the week. I just feel like the way that game panned out, it was duddery.
Yeah.
That game was
yeah.
duddery. It was duddery.
This one is breaking news today, but Quincy Promise.
Oh, but it's,
Brother.
My
thing is,
Allegedly.
family
It's alleged.
business
We ain't
always
snitches
got to
over here.
stay internal. So
We ain't snitches
that's
over. We
all I'm
ain't doing
saying.
the Patrice
yeah.
everything.
It's
That's
alleged,
all I'm
but I
saying.
can hear the
But
angle, but
Quincy
it's alleged.
Promise right now is
Yeah,
looking like my dad.
allegedly. My dad, it's a shame. I'm gonna keep doing it until they win a match in Sheffield United. It's just harder. I'm saying,
Hey, he's
it's-
turned.
I can't. I can't ignore it.
Actually, sorry,
This
I
is
have
bad.
I have one more. I have
Criminal.
one more. The dud of the week is to the panel that announced the best awards.
The best
Oh,
coach.
days.
The whole
Bielsa.
thing.
No,
the whole
forget
thing
about that.
the
Raheem
whole
Sterling
thing.
not being a top 55
No,
player in
the
world
thing is,
football.
I'm gonna close my laptop. The whole thing is a farce.
Cuz.
And on that bombshell, that's another episode. Make sure to subscribe. Notifications on. This one's gonna be out first thing in the morning. So hold tight production on that. Let's give production a clap. Production and steps to the production. work.
Participation
Listen,
trophy.
don't flop now because we're clapping for you. Don't flop it. But listen, that's another episode. We're out in a bit.